So Jamie, you're going to be talking about reasonable care and what the CBP expects. And of course, reasonable care, as we were just talking about, that's kind of, what is that? What's reasonable?
What's reasonable?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is that, years ago, I was actually at a conference where one of the presenters from the government made a statement. If you followed 100% of the regulations all the time on your imports and exports, you probably wouldn't want to import and export. Right. The regulations are so complex and the responsibilities are so intense that 100% compliance is really challenging to get there. So the government has allowed, both on the import and the export side, this concept of either due diligence or reasonable care, which is basically you are responsible for your compliance. The government doesn't expect you to be perfect, but they expect you to put policies, procedures, activities in place within your organization that meet a certain standard, that you're doing your best to be perfect, even if you aren't, so that in the event that there is a violation found, you can at least use your processes, procedures, and that reasonable care as a mitigating factor if there's going to be any fines or penalties. Customs will, give you a little bit of a reprieve if you can prove that you've done everything in your power to try and follow those regulations to the best of your ability.
Are there any misjudgments the company makes regarding reasonable care, though?
They do, unfortunately, and that's one of the key challenges is that there are many exporters and importers. They'll have this concept, we've never been caught before, we've never had a problem, so why do we need to put controls and systems and activities in place? If the government hasn't hit us up now, why are we even concerned? Eventually you will get caught.
And these days are different now.
They are.
We've done some of the videos. If you get a chance, take a look, because he talks about what's going on. The eyes are up.
The eyes are opened. And the thing is that if you look and follow, because I follow very closely the Congress and what they're voting on for their new budgets for these programs. And, both on the import and export side, the main majority of dollars going to these agencies is for enforcement. So they're definitely looking, they're researching more investigations, more audits, more queries are being sent out there. So you can't be complacent in this area. And you also have to be cautious not to be too reliant on your brokers or your forwarders to make sure that they're going to take care of everything. Your broker is responsible for submitting their entry. They have their own requirements. But at the end of the day, you as the importer and exporter hold that responsibility. And so you have to practice as much reasonable care as they do, and you can't just depend on them to do it the right way. You've got to do it yourself. So, and also making sure, and I reiterate this again and again, audit, but also document. The key way to prove to customs is to do reasonable care by drafting those policies, those procedures, those desktop activities that you're doing to maintain that compliance program. But with that being said, again, document, but then audit. I worked for a company almost 20 years ago that we went through the process. They did not have much of a compliance program, unfortunately, when I joined them. And I went through the process of documenting everything. So we had policies, we had procedures, we had systems, we had tools, we had training. All of that was put together. And I put it in a nice binder, because this was kind of pre-internet, right? So put it all in a nice binder, and we stuck it on the shelf. And if anyone had any questions, and in the training it said, if you have any questions, go look at the binder. The information's all there. 20 to 25 years later, that company addressing the multi-million-dollar fine they got. And the reason that is that when the government officials showed up for the investigation and asked what was their reasonable care and what were their policies and procedures, they pulled this cobwebbed, dusted version of a document off. And the last update had been nearly 25 years old.
Boy.
So, you have to stay on top of it. Whatever you put in place, make sure it's current, it's up to date. Otherwise, again, millions of dollars in fines and penalties.